It's all, we're back now, so it's all settled in. We'll continue on. Ms. Ariemma, you have a report this morning. Thank you. Any unfinished business, council? Any new business?
Yes, Mayor, I have new business.
Go right ahead, Councilwoman.
I'd like to read a statement if I may.
Thank you.
As some of you may have read in the paper last week, no, it's cold in here. I have officially withdrawn my name from the election. I have made this decision for personal reasons, and it was not an easy decision to make. This Friday, I will be going out for elective surgery, and I will be out of commission for a period of time. Due to this, I will be unavailable to attend committee meetings, nor do the work required for these committees. I would also most likely miss several council meetings. Over the last almost 3 years, I have come to find out just how time-consuming this job is. I do it because I love it, and because I truly care for this town and the residents of Garwood. During the next few months, I will not be able to give Garwood Council the full attention that this job truly needs and deserves. For these reasons, I'm announcing with heavy heart that this will be my last meeting. Please do not count me out totally. I do plan on being involved on as many citizens committees as I can, and who knows, I will maybe be behind the dais again in the future. When I was in high school, they gave a course in civics. I don't know if those courses are still taught anymore, and if it's not, it's really a disservice, because I learned a lot in those courses. It would be a disservice to society if they don't teach those anymore. Every day in my almost 3 years in this position, I learned something new, and I'm sure that if I had the honor of being on another term, I would continue to learn more. This is a tough job. Our borough administrator and our police chief, they run this town along with other department heads, and they do a phenomenal job. I'd like to thank Ms. Ariemma and Chief Underhill for all the hard work they do, and for guiding me through this process and answering every phone call and email, and trust me, there were plenty. Mayor and council members, it has been a pleasure working with you, and it has been truly an honor serving the citizens of Garwood. I hope I get the chance to serve again in the future. Thank you.
Councilwoman, do you have plans to continue with any of the, anything in any capacity while you're, not a councilwoman, any of the things that you're involved with now?
For the next few months, I probably will not be able to, but after that, I plan on being involved in whatever I can as a citizen. I'll probably join the EFG again.
We'll welcome you back, that's for sure.
And any citizen committees that the mayor will appoint me to, I would like to be on.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, I cannot top that, Ms. Tarantino, I'm sorry. I do have a few things, if I may. You have something? I'm sorry.
Well, I just want to say that I've served with Ann almost 3 years now. And, we've been on a lot of committees together, and there have been a lot of phone calls and emails and every other thing. And this job does take a lot out of you, and I think the fact that you're willing to step down and let somebody else come in that could give it the time that it deserves, I think really says something about your character.
Thank you.
And, I appreciate your service.
Thank you.
And it's been great work.
I would second that.
And as the mayor, I thank you on behalf of the Borough of Garwood. Great job.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else at this point? If not, first, two reminders. First, ShopRite of Garwood is hosting a Help Bag Hunger Day on Wednesday, September 16th, and I'll be on hand to participate in the event about 4 o'clock. Please join me for a great cause. Also, September 18th at the Somerset Hills Hotel, I will be accepting the Plenty Award for the Garwood Sports and Recreation Complex at their awards breakfast. I've been informed by a longtime resident, Ann Leonard, that our last surviving Gold Star mother, Mrs. Margaret Steese, mother of Kevin Cochran, who lost his life in Vietnam, has passed away. For those who don't remember, small gold star banners hanging in the windows during World War I, symbolizing that a mother lost a son or a daughter in the war. Mrs. Steets was the last of the Garwood Gold Star mothers, closing a sad historical chapter in the borough's history. Constitution Day and Citizens Day in the United States is an annual observed event on September 17th. This event celebrates the signing of the U.S. Constitution on September 17th, 1787. It also recognizes all who has become citizens by age or by naturalization. Also, at this time, I'd also ask to take a moment to honor all those innocent people who have lost their lives on September 11, 2001, where we have a moment of silence at this time. Thank you. If you have an American flag at home, please display it proudly on Friday, September 11th, as known as Patriots Day. And Ms. Ariel, if you would add to my report, this September the 19th will be Mayor's Saturday. Councilman Newstead will be joining me. That's all for my report. Thank you. Comments and matters for discussion from members of council. Councilman Martin.
Nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Matthew.
Nothing, Mayor, thank you.
Councilman Petroselli.
Nothing at the time.
Councilwoman Tarantino.
I do have something, Mayor.
Thank you.
I think it was reported before that the spots at the first aid squad have been painted. We had discussed painting them so that the teachers may now park there. Part of the process of getting commuters off of the street for this residential parking permit ordinance. So 12 spots have been painted, and I spoke with Dr. Quigley today. She's doing it as a first come, first serve for the teachers to park there, and that will leave 4 to 8, depending. We have 4 teachers that walk to work. So 4 teachers that drive to work will not have a parking spot. So that leaves them, right now we have to find a place for them unless we're gonna allow them to park on the street. And then the other 4 walk to work, so they'll be okay. Unless they move or we get a different teacher or choose to drive to work, whatever we do. So I just wanted to let you know about that. That's all.
Thank you. Councilwoman Tedesco.
I have a few items, Mayor, thank you. The first one is just a quick announcement, if I may, indulge me with the Lions Club. This Saturday at the Columbian Club, which is where the Knights of Columbus meet, there will be the annual Lions Club Senior Citizens Picnic with hamburgers, hot dogs, and corn, clam chowder, the list goes on. So if any Garwood seniors would like to come, that's from 12 to 4, again, where the Columbian Club meets. Also, from Council President Nierstedt, I have an announcement of a tentative meeting with a FEMA representative for residents to attend who are interested. Tentatively, it's September 24th at 7:30 p.m. at Borough Hall. And this has come as a result of some residents coming into council meetings and chatting with us council people about their concerns of flooding on Myrtle, Spruce, and Willow on the eastern side of those streets. So we do plan to drop off flyers to those residents to let them know about this available meeting once it's all set in stone. Again, right now it's tentative for September 24th. A couple other things. One is, I didn't get a chance to say it earlier, so I just wanted to commend Carol Carney for running Garwood Rocks again very successfully in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce, as well as our Garwood Police Department for doing that. I know nearly the entire department was out that day, so that really says something about the dedication of our police force. And I also, of course, have to thank our DPW for their efforts. And then one more big thank you to Lieutenant Wright for getting the grant for us for the AUDs. I think it's very important. I know in school we talk about that law that's passed and how all public buildings really need to have them today. It's very important, and I hope to never need to use them, but it's good to have, and you need to definitely thank you for all your efforts in getting all the grants that you get. Finally, the dumpster ordinance has been drafted by Laws and License and then reworded in legal jargon by our borough attorney. So everybody received that in their council email. So I just want to take this time now to discuss that if we need to. And if everybody's okay with it, or we can get to a point where we're okay with it, I'd like to see it on the next meeting's agenda. So if anybody has any questions, comments.
My question is, so we're gonna be charging people $15 to put it on their own property? And what was the thinking behind that?
Sure. So, when we first discussed the dumpster ordinance, at least a year ago, probably a year and a half by now, and it was passed. It was passed with a $5 fee, whether it was placed on the street or on the property. And that was something that there was a concern raised by Council President Neerstead, I believe, over fees for that. And so basically, that's where that stemmed from. The original fees that we were taking a look at were $25 and $50 respectively. So we decided to lower the fee for folks that put it on their property at $15. So that's the answer. Any other questions?
And then $50 for people to incentivize them to, was this every 2 weeks if they put it outside their property? And then
Right.
they could do a maximum of 4 weeks, 4 2-week periods, I guess it would be, right,
Right.
56 days.
Actually, it would be 3 14-day renewals. So
56 days total.
Mhm.
So I'm just concerned, I don't know, charging people $15 to put it on their own property. I'd rather not charge them at all. And then the other thing is, I don't know, $50 kind of crosses the threshold to be, I don't know, kind of punitive in my book. I do agree $5 was not enough for people to really take notice of it. I don't know, $25. But I don't know, to charge somebody to put it on their own property, you know, I'm not really for that at all. And just $50 to me just sounds to be, like, I don't have work done on my house right now. We have the dumpster in our garage and the money's just flying out of my pocket, just to kind of add the borough to that. I just don't think it's fair. So I really would love to see if we could get those fees down, then I would actually support it.
Well, I am open to the idea. I mean, Councilman Petrozelli, you're not on the Laws and License Committee, so what are your thoughts on the fees? But actually, before you go on with that, I do just want to point out too that if it's placed on the street, that does require our engineer to go out and look at the condition of the street, probably take a picture of it before the dumpster is placed, so that if there is damage done to the street, that we have evidence of that, and then the borough is not getting damaged streets due to dumpsters. And that was something when we originally looked at a draft ordinance, there was actually a requirement of a pretty hefty bond for putting it on the street, and we thought that that was too much of a burden on the residents, but at the same point, there was thought to discouraging it from being placed on the street, and also just acknowledging that there is time by the borough engineer and the police department when dumpsters are placed on the street. So.
How I feel about it is, to have a fee for it to be on your own property, I don't really know about that. I understand that the need to have the dumpsters registered, with the police department and know where they are. I understand the need for having these dumpsters out in the street for a very long time. That does pose a problem. So I'd rather see, a higher fee for it to be in the street, maybe at least, we're talking, $50, just to register it, but to have it, but to have a fee on your own personal property, because I think that is the incentive there, that, you want to try to encourage people to get it off the street and if possible, put it on their, on their driveway or somewhere on their property. It really all depends on the extent of the work that someone's having done. So, I don't know, I'm not inclined to really have a fee if you can put it on your property.
Okay, with that being said, I want to be open-minded here, and definitely I'm open to compromising on this issue. So, just throwing out numbers, going back to a $5 or $10 fee.
Discuss it with the committee, just don't throw numbers around it. I think that's the best
Well,
suggestion.
The committee did come out 3-0 with
Oh, okay.
with 15 and 50, so if we're, if really our issue is the fees, I think we can work that out tonight, or perhaps next council meeting when Council President Neersted's here. I'm willing to wait those 2 weeks and then let the council president give his sentiments, especially because he was one that had an issue with the $5 fee in the first place. So, Mayor?
Okay, that'd be fine.
Okay, so next meeting.
It's not urgent.
Okay, and are there any other
other
questions about the
comments?
ordinance at this point, other than?
Just to move the ball, so Jim, you would like to have, what fees are you proposing?
I'd like 0 to be on somebody's property.
0 and 25?
25 I want something to get somebody's attention, that it's not nothing, but not a lot. These are judgment calls, I understand that, but I think 0 and 25 would be my preference.
I would be okay with 0 and 50, because I understand the urge to get the dumpster off the street. So if someone has to keep on registering, maybe that'll, entice contractors to fill that dumpster and get it off there as fast as they can. Because last year we did have the problem on Willow where it sat there all winter long and we had to plow around it and that was
Well, the 0 is more important to me than the 50. If we go ahead and do 0, then I'll go for that 0.
Is that a
You know,
consensus?
at the same point though too, this is, we've had a dumpster ordinance as of last year, and this has been discussed a bit in public for sure, but we really haven't discussed these fees in public until tonight. So I'm usually inclined to push something forward, with regards to just how things in government seem to take a long time. I know a resident has come before us multiple times about this dumpster ordinance, and I'm sure in their eyes, it seems like we're taking forever, but at the same point, for the 2 weeks, I think it might be worth it.
And also too, we have public comments after this that went,
Right.
some information.
So,
Okay,
But thank you, everybody for your feedback on this.
very good, thank you. Any further comment? If not, public comment? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone, sign in, state your full name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor LaBarge, ladies and gentlemen, and council, Bruce, Patterson, 325 Willow Avenue.
You still live there?
Yep, that's good. Since I missed the last meeting, I get twice as long.
No, you get the merits.
No, just, the dumpster ordinance, I tend to agree, public comment on the dumpster ordinance. I tend to agree with, Jim, it should be 0, and then Lou has something, it should be 0 on the property. But one thing, if you put it on the street, maybe you should have something about plating, because you could also put down a steel plate, and the dumpster can sit on the steel plate, so the wheels don't sink in and cause damage, because God forbid you cause damage on the street. I don't know what you were planning to do, I guess, mill it and bill the owner for that. So anyway, plates.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
and also now, I live on the 300 block of Willow, and I'm sure this is elsewhere, but a lot of houses don't have driveways. They're 25-foot lots, 30-foot lots, and therefore, if they do any major renovation, it's gonna be sitting on the street automatically. So, they have no recourse but to pay the higher fee. So, having a high fee and a low fee doesn't push it onto the property, because they can't do it. So, I don't know what you wanna do about that. Yeah, actually, in a lot of these reports and discussions, there's a lot of dates mentioned. The borough has a calendar, right, on the website? Yeah, do all these events end up on the calendar? There had to be like 6 or 7 dates.
Mine was just descriptive.
I mean,
I mentioned a couple, but there are only things that I don't participate
okay,
in.
no, Movie Under the Stars is up there, and planning board
That is
nights.
on there.
Right, so I was thinking,
Somebody asked me to put it up, I put it up.
right,
Otherwise, I have general stuff I put up.
Oh, so the dates, if they're saying dates, it's
Right.
not like you take note and put it up. Somebody has to actually ask.
I basically had 4 dates, but 2 I'm participating in. One's just the mention of a Constitution Day, and the other one was the
Yeah.
9/11, so. Okay.
All right, and I guess you were talking about curbing, I guess that'll be the next meeting, but somebody mentioned that this, that was Attorney Renan mentioned that this was the first assessment type ordinance, but there actually was one on East Street, up right past the Y. They put sidewalks and curbs up on those blocks on East Street.
No, I didn't say this was the first one, I said this was the last one, I think. but we hadn't had any since then.
No.
I know we've had them before.
Yeah, oh, okay.
And it's only assessed when it's new curbing.
Right.
I guess the public will be able to ask questions at the next meeting.
Yeah,
It's on tonight.
Isn't that tonight?
No,
Yeah.
it's on tonight, yeah.
It's on tonight's agenda.
Oh, okay.
There is a public hearing on that.
Okay, I'll ask it today. Yeah, and I'm sorry, yeah. I'm saying, but tell you what, I'll write you in for the Board of Ed, okay? I think they have an open,
Okay.
I think they have an open seat over there, so we'll get you
Been there,
still
done that.
stuck and go. Yeah, well, here too, so.
We have plenty of jobs here, there's no problem.
It's so easy over there at the Board of Ed.
Yeah, correct.
Are you ready to wrap up, Mr. Madison?
Yeah, just, okay,
Okay.
that's fine. But just, the defibrillators, maybe you should leave one here, because, you know, these council meetings are,
You're fine,
to say the least. Thank you very much.
thank you. Anyone else?
Yes.
Thank you.
I hope I'm excused of signing in, because
Yes, thank you.
I can't reach. My name is Igor, last name Flitsanov. I live on 301 New Street, and I have a comment about assessment. The assessment was done on Myrtle Street, that it's dead end, and it had a little bit of curves. Now, without my or anybody else's concern, it was put in, and now I have to pay more taxes. I'll be plain and simple, how come, why? I didn't ask, there was a little bit of curve. Now you guys, not you, but
No, we understand.
you guys came in, put the bigger one. It's actually harder for me to go on the driveway now, and I have to pay more taxes. That's about,
Well, first of all, we're gonna have the public hearing on this assessment later, but I'll try to answer the question if I can. Is what you're saying there was curbing?
yeah, there was a little curving.
See, we had, when this was, ordinance was originally adopted, there was a public hearing. Were you at the public hearing?
No, sir.
He was
Was this-
noticed, he's on the list.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have his card. There
That was 09.
It was 08.
Yeah.
Oh, it was 08, I never got any correspondence or anything.
You were there, you lived there in 2008?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yeah,
Here's his signed card right here.
yeah.
He got noticed.
So, the time, well, let's put it this way. So, tell me what, I'm not sure that I'm understanding what the question is.
The question is, how come I have to pay more tax?
Okay, well, that one's easy.
We all do.
But the reason is because the curbing was installed, but, and it's actually not taxes, it's an assessment, but as far as you're concerned, you're writing a check, so it's taxes,
Yeah, I'm
and I
writing a
understand that, I
check.
get that. So, you're being assessed because the municipality, decided when it did the project to do curbing and to assess the property owners. And what happens is, in this case and all the other ones, is before it decides, for example, they have a public hearing then, which the administrator indicates that you did get notice of. And frankly, if the residents come and they say, gee, we don't want this curbing, we don't want to pay for it, in all probability, the borough would not adopt the ordinance that authorizes the curbing and assesses it, because it's, all right, well, the residents don't want curbing, we're not gonna put curbing in. But when they have a public hearing and no one comes to object to the curbing, and it says that, I don't have a copy of the notice, but I'm sure that the notice says, we're gonna put in curbing, we're gonna assess the properties, we're gonna have a public hearing, if you wanna come and say anything, come and say it. So, unfortunately, you're about 7 years too late, because if you didn't want the curbing, and didn't want to pay for the curbing, then the time to really to have objected to it was before the curbing went in. So now, the objection is, I have the curbing, but I don't want to pay for it, and it's frankly, it would essentially have every other taxpayer in the borough then pay for the curbing at your property that you didn't say that you didn't want.
In the notice, since I haven't read it, or maybe it got thrown out, was there, saying that, my property is gonna be assessed and that I'm gonna end up paying for it?
Yes,
It was,
I
right?
can tell you that for sure, yes.
Okay, so there is nothing that I could do right now to not to pay this tax, I mean, this assessment.
Well, you're here for a public, well, it's not a public hearing yet, but you will be here for the public hearing and the council will vote on it, but that's, I mean, as a general rule, if the curbing is in and the numbers are correct, which they appear to be, nobody's questioned any of the figures, yes, everybody will be paying for it.
All right, I guess I'll look through the mail,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renato. Anyone else?
You can sit right there, because I think, my name is Paul Nieves, I live
Simon, please, sir.
at 263 4th Avenue in Garwood. One thing that the gentleman said that I don't think was answered, and I hold this issue true to my heart because my father is also, has some physical limitations. I don't think he's necessarily opposing paying the tax, but he's also saying that he's having difficulty getting into his house now because the curb is installed. So I'm wondering if something, if in the notice there was some kind of provision allowing him to not object to the curb, but allowing him to voice any objections or concerns about his ability to get into his house.
But also too, Mr. Renato said it was put in around 2008, 2009.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had any objections from anybody, as far as I know, to any of the work that was done. You know, we're talking 7 years ago. I have never heard anybody complain about the work that was done or that anything was wrong. I mean, obviously, if we're putting in curbing at the corners, you know, we have to put it in so that it's handicapped accessible, it has to meet the standards. Nobody's ever said that it doesn't. I would have to assume that it does.
Right, and I'm not familiar with what the curb looks like, but he did mention two things, that he was concerned about paying the tax, but that he wasn't also now, apparently the curbing created
But I
a
mean, if
hardship
there's a
to get
complaint, if
into
anybody
the-
has a complaint anytime about curbing that's
He's doing
supposed
it now,
to be,
sir. He's doing it now.
right, that's supposed to be handicapped accessible, unfortunately, I know the engineer here now, but, you know, we can take a look at it.
Mayor, if I may, as Streets and Roads Chair, I'll talk to the Superintendent of Public Works and just take a look at it, because I notice sometimes in front of the driveway, there will be a pretty decent gap as the road settles between the road and the driveway there and all that, so I just want to at least take a look at the area the gentleman's bringing to our attention.
Thank you. Anyone else? At this time, I'll ask for an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? I return back at 8:15.